Hi everyone at hashtag B1 Less News and hashtag CDC Whistleblower. I am here with at CES Dave, which is Candace, and at Tanner's dad, which is Timothy Welsh. And we have been doing this since August. This is Trends and Tips number 139, also known as TAD Tips. You can go to YouTube and put in TATIPS and then any number, and you will get one of 139 and growing episodes of us attempting successfully, I might add, to move the needle when it comes to people understanding the realities about vaccines and helping with these bills. Now I want to back up for a second and say Tim, Candace, and I are this incredibly well-oiled machine with hundreds of other people who were driving social media with the express goal of hashtag CDC Whistleblower being the carrier or the platform for everything that has to do with vaccine reality, the reality that's simply not seeping through any other way. We were incredibly successful. We kind of put that on hold to start helping with all these states to kill their bills. It helped with Oregon, Washington, Vermont, Texas, and then we got to California, where it's become abundantly obvious that California's been bought and paid for from the ends of its hairs to the ends of its toenails. So the job here is becoming very different. I live in California, and Candace lives in California, so it was very personal for us. So what happened was we were able to get a little distracted from our formulaic approach on Twitter that has been working, and my goal is to get back to that formulaic approach, and I want to start with Periscope. Periscope.tv is an app which you should absolutely load on your phone. But I want to speak to you using Periscope and the type of tool that it is versus the type of tool that it is not. Periscope cycles for 24 hours and then it is gone. So I personally think it is a waste of my time to create Periscopes that then will go into Never Never Land. What I don't think is a waste of time, but is absolutely worth our time, is to spend time going into other people's uber popular Periscopes. Like the other day, I was in the middle of an Ellen DeGeneres one that had like 2,000 people on it, and I was just in there asking questions about vaccines and then answering them in the next post. But even that isn't moving the needle like our old school type of tweeting did. Tim needs to continue to do Periscope because Tim is a brand on Twitter that we need to keep on the cutting edge so we can continue to have him carve out where we go next. So he needs to continue to do Periscope. I think most of the other people who have been working on this project need to have Periscope accounts, and when they got nothing going on, should have a party with Periscope, but not at the cost of the jobs that you've been doing for hashtag CDC Whistleblower this whole time. If you were a data analyst, if you were a video maker, if you were a meme generator, if you were a meme collator and cycler, those are jobs we need to get back to. So now I want to go on to the hashtag mine with the hashtag B1Less. Excuse me. Here's the concept I have for the hashtag mine, because I'm looking at where we're at in all of this killing the bill and everything else, and the reality is this is a long-term job. When you look at what happened at these hearings, it's pure farcical fodder that our children will look back on the testimony that will forever be available, both in video and writing, as the crimes against humanity that our California hearings represented. We had representatives that lied about the facts and didn't represent the facts. And then we had our side that clearly spelled it out, that everyone ignored. That's not going anywhere. What we need is more and more people educated every single day. And that's a boots on the ground type of job. We still need to focus on the Appropriations Committee. We still need to focus on the Assembly. The focus that I have on Assembly is this. We're going to dissect down everybody within the Assembly. We're going to determine what their voting record is, starting with AB 2109. We're showing up on May 16th at the Democratic Convention, and we're going to have very specific talking points for each and every person that we're going to have an 8.5 by 11 page that you can say, oh, that's Holly Mitchell. This is what I want to talk to her about. That's May 16th at the Democratic Convention, although it's actually for 3 solid days. The activity outside is going to be rally, protest style, wearing your red with your kids. The second you go inside, no more red, no more anything, but you are one of them when you are inside that building with very specific people that you want to talk to about very specific talking points. The other rally we have going on is wearing red at the farmers market entrance to the Grove in Los Angeles at noon sharp, and we're going to do a show of red. Are you seeing red yet? At the Grove. The concept that I have in mind is the hashtag mine being so without challenge. It's not good, it's not bad, it doesn't say anything, and yet it says everything. This body is mine, it's hashtag mine. So the concept that I'm envisioning is people beginning to go out into their community, 1 at a time, 3 at a time, 100 at a time, wearing pins that say mine, I think I'm going to start going to coffee shops and put up a little red flyer that just says hashtag mine, ask me anything. The goal is that we start educating. Okay, hang on. I can hear the noise entering my house now, so let me put on my headset. The concept is that we're very graciously available for education, and then there's all kinds of different ways to make this happen, whether you show up at the coffee shop. And I think what this is going to do is it's going to create more people like Cindy Crawford, who came out and said, hey, I watched Trace Amounts. Why don't you watch it and start being part of the solution? Because we're seeing a breakthrough point in the wall of silence around vaccines with Bill Maher and Bobby Kennedy and Cindy Crawford at a level we've never seen before. So that's a couple of the concepts. Another concept that has emerged is now that we've seen, and maybe I can find this on @TannersDad or hashtag mine. Now that we've seen that the Committee for Special Needs Children turns out to be Pan and Holly Mitchell and Lou, we're starting to look at this totally differently, and people are starting to think that perhaps this was all a plan to give the state of California a way to exclude those that have incredibly expensive individual education plans that are funded through the federal government, and that by the time people sue to get what's rightfully theirs, the state of California will have saved billions of dollars. It's sick, it's twisted, but it's probably reality-based. So for me, I need to go back to my roots. I need to go back to what makes me wake up at 4 in the morning with these crazy ideas of how I might move the needle. And I'm really hoping that Tim and Candace will go back with me to our wheelhouse, which is what we did every single day on Twitter to try to move the needle. And I know with Candace, it was recycling of these amazing memes that she found all over Twitter. Anybody else who can do that, we need you to go to @CESDave on your phone, scroll through the 4,000 memes to the very beginning, and start tweeting those out with hashtag SB277 and hashtag mine. And we're going to just focus again on these TAD tips to make them really, really valuable for moving the needle on a global level versus really perseverating on California. Tim and Candace, you got anything? How does that sound, by the way?
Sounds good.
They're unmuted, but nobody's talking.
I'm in for going back
Can't
to the
hear you.
roots. I'm sorry, I'm unmuted.
Oh, I'm
Can you hear
here.
me
Okay,
now?
I can hear you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. My bad.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
so
send
let's
it.
get back to what was so impactful. Getting 100 new followers a day.
But
I think,
Candace, I don't think it's about followers. I really don't when it comes to the type of advocacy work that you have been doing. Your 1,600 followers is nothing compared to the millions of impressions that you've been able to garner
right, well,
throughout the
that's what
last
I
eight
mean.
months.
That's what I
Yeah, yeah.
mean. Yeah, and just spreading that education.
So, Tim, could you go over quickly let's get people back on Twitter. Let's get them back with that formulaic way that we move the needle on Twitter. Can you go over that quickly, Tim?
We've really seen success with sticking to the main hashtags, which at this point we're using uh, hashtag SB277 as an anchor with the hashtag mine, and then using a reportable, reproducible link, a meaningful visual, a uh, attaching it to a larger tweeter and I'm talking 15 million to 45 million followers. So somebody that
How do they find us, Tim?
you can find those at wefollow.com, where you can put in any subject, anything that you can imagine, and it'll give you the best tweeters around that subject. So
So they
that's
can put in like celebrity.
right,
Okay.
wefollow.com. And
Okay.
then a call to an action that we would like people to do something with their time on Twitter, with their time out and about. And so it's simple as the most simple we use as an example is RTPLZ, which means retweet please, but you can go all sorts of call to action. Talk to your neighbor, talk to your mother, talk to your brother, go out and hold up a sign. All the things that you can do that are old school advocacy work still in this environment of everybody being numb by their phone, that you can still talk to people over the water cooler at work, church, Sunday school, out and about at the baseball game. You can do all those things and be more visible and keep the conversation going, because we are at that tipping point.
I do think we're at that tipping point, and I really do think the hashtag mine has the ability to carry us over into people asking us questions. Like I'm envisioning hashtag mine, ask me anything. And when people say, oh, hashtag mine, what does that mean? Ask you anything. You say, well, ask me anything, number one, if you have any question, and their question is going to be, well, what does mine stand for? And I'm looking for where we just navigated through, Tim, what that could possibly be. And what did we come up with? Do you remember? I'm looking for it, and I can't find it right now for mine. Tim, anything?
Massive intervention of networking educators.
Yes, massive. We were playing around with invasion versus intervention. Massive intervention of networking educators. And that's the visual that I really have. I have this visual of the world beginning to get very, very red. And I think people should just absolutely put aside the concept of red being associated with the Republican Party, because we're just not looking at it that way at all. Bottom line is the Republicans happen to be more on our side on this one issue at this particular moment, but the idea that it's going to stay that way, is politics don't tend to work that way. So nobody's talking about aligning with any particular party. Red just represents waking up and being forthright and showing up to demonstrate that you are here to stay and you are here with a message, and it's the most in your face noticeable color that there is. I look now when I'm out and about and I see people in red and I'm kind of like, woohoo, yay, more people. And that's the illusion that we want to give. Moving forward, for me, I want to get back to some of these videos that move the needle. One of the videos that I have a visual of, and I'm kind of talking to Kelly right now, but is this concept of when you really dissect down the things that they say in these hearings. One of the things Pan said is you're 1,000 times more likely to be injured by the disease than the vaccine designed to prevent the disease. Well, if you just did the math on that alone, we've given 2.5 billion doses of vaccines in the United States. And we probably have had less than 30,000 cases of all the vaccine preventable diseases in the United States, and that's a gross overestimate. It's probably way less than that. So even if you did the math on the 30,000 times 1,000 versus 2.5 billion, there's a point where even based on their faulty science, you have the diminishing returns on investment, meaning we know that vaccines damage people. We've given 2.5 billion doses. We know that a percentage of those that are vaccinated will be harmed. So then we go over to the flip side, which is the number of people who have actually had one of these quote-unquote diseases that are quote-unquote prevented by these vaccines. And the math doesn't add up. Even their math doesn't add up as warranting our current vaccine schedule. It just doesn't make sense. And people will say, but that's why there's none of these diseases. And give them that. Say, okay, I get that you believe that, but based on the cost to benefit with your math, it would still make sense to figure out how to do fewer vaccines and see what happens to these disease rates. For example, do you stop vaccinating those 2 and under? Do you stop vaccinating those 65 and older? You stop vaccinating groups of people to see, does the disease rate actually go up? It's just they bump into their own propaganda every direction they look, from shedding with the Stelara ads. So we need to pull our heads out of our butts for a minute and really focus on the pieces of propaganda that will move the needle that we have not harnessed yet. And that's where my heart is, and that's what I'm going back to, because I'm sick of spinning, feeling like, there's so much that has to be done. And when I really look at it, the things that really need to be done that could absolutely move the needle aren't getting done because of that. So I'm going back to my roots with Timothy, and Candace is my huge hope, and Kelly and Marcia and Carolyn and Andrea and all these people that I think we all allowed ourselves to spin a little bit with these mandates and get a little crazed and left our formulaic approach to moving the needle. I want to go back to that formulaic approach. I want my number one objective to be have social media be driving the change that we need. And that's what makes me happy. That's what wakes me up at 5 o'clock in the morning with these crazy ideas that tend to be really valuable. And I'm hoping my team will follow me. What do you think, guys?
Well, I'm in.
We're always together, I think.
We're forever united at the hashtag CDC whistleblower hip. So you're going to see a shift in our activities. Candace is going to start. Here's another frustration. And because of what we did at hashtag CDC whistleblower, we have not missed a single piece of propaganda that could help move the needle in the last 8 months. We just haven't missed it. We've not only not missed it, but we haven't had it not have a tiny URL and not have a meme floating out there on the internet. Our challenge is that we haven't recycled those in a way that you are accessing them in real time. Candace's library is the best library we have for that. So again, if we could get people going to @CESDave and going on your phone, you do this on your phone, you go all the way to, you scroll to the beginning of her photos, and you start hitting retweet, and then you add hashtag SP277 and hashtag mine to those. And it gets them back up in the feeds into the system, that then people will be aware that these things that they're finding are incredibly valuable, but they're also easy to tweet with the visuals because that's already happened. So we will see you at hashtag CDC Whistleblower. We'll see you at CES Day to please, 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 please retweet some of these visuals. Candace?
I'm in. I'll be there. I'm going.
So we're gonna pull her off a little bit of her Periscope. We're gonna get her a second device, and once she has that second device, she's gonna tweet on one device and Periscope on the other device at the same time. So she's killing two birds with one stone. Timothy?
And I want her to play her bass guitar. I want to see what she was like.
Yeah, totally. So I'm not saying don't do Periscope. I think Tim's right that if we could dominate Periscope like I think we really, really can, it can be a portal that no matter where anybody is on Periscope, the red army comes in with hashtag mine, hashtag SB277, hashtag have you seen what they're doing to parents' rights? And there shouldn't be anybody's Periscope that doesn't have, because how Periscope works is they're trying to do this innocent little, oh, look at my beautiful tree, and isn't this a pretty purple flower? But you permanently embed your message in their Periscope with their number of followers if you jump on soon enough to their Periscope. But again, it only lasts 24 hours, so it's really not worth a ton of time, I don't think, except for Tim. We will see you on hashtag.
And come meet us in Chicago at Autism One.
Oh my God, yes! Okay, let's just go there. Okay, so I gotta pull my head out and get on this too because I'm hosting an entire day at, I can't find it now. I have so many windows open.
Autism1.org, Chicago, Illinois.
I'm trying to find it so I can put it on my page here. So it's autism1.org. If you look for the Thrive track, which is THRIIIVE, that's me. If you look for the Vax Truth track, that is Candace who's doing it all day. Candace, do you want to go quickly over some of the people that you're featuring on your day with Vax Truth?
Well, I'm hoping Marcelo will be there to take the lead. I'm going to talk about my activism in a snap, all the things I've done that have immediately made a difference, gotten people on board with us, how I've written letters, and they took the billboard down at school right away that very day. So a lot of Vax facts. We have attorneys and doctors. I know Patty Finn will be there. Gosh, I'm not
so
sure.
Here we have
else.
Candace, we have Janet Levitin, who's an MD, Vaccine Controversies, Richard Moskowitz, MD, Counterfeit Immunity, Alan Phillips, who's a judge, Vaccine Rights, what they are now, what they're going, where they're going, and what you can do about it. Let's see I apologize to Terry Aranga if for some reason she's listening to this. I have not done anything to get this going. At all. So, oh yay, she pulled up some stuff. So there's our day, the Thrive Day. We have Gary Samuelson, new research in oxidative therapies and redox signaling. We have Christopher Shade, who's the cutting edge of how to get stuff out of the body. I'm doing neurovascularity, critters, as in bugs in your body, and the hashtag CDC Whistleblower. We have Tammy Duncan talking about an intuitive approach to healing. We have Scott Forsgren, who's one of the smartest people on the planet, summarizing some stuff with Lyme and chronic illness. Mary Coyle, who was at my very first summit in 2007, who is a homotoxicologist. Robert Slovak, who understands water better than anybody. Dietrich Klinghardt, my dear friend, love him, and he's just always got great things to say, and then I'm finishing up at the end of the day, and then we're going to party. So we will see you guys. Again, that's autism1.org, and if you are a vaccine advocate, you should be there. So we will see you there. Love you guys. Bye.